Dude, that's our new homeroom teacher? I should have just stayed in Germany. The second Mr. Kansuna left the classroom, Yui came over to my desk, expressing her disgust for our new teacher. Not a fan, Yui? Most of the girls here seem to like him. Most of the girls in class are freaking idiots who can't see past the cretin's appearance. Mark my words, Hideki, this man is trouble. No need to tell me twice. One look at Megami and I... As Megami came to mind, I realized that Megami hadn't moved from her desk. She was sitting upright, her eyes glued to her textbook in front of her, as though she didn't even realize that the lesson was over. Megami? I walked over to Megami's desk and tapped her on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Whoa, Megami, calm down. It's just me.
Hideki? Oh, I'm sorry. You scared me.
Right back at you. What's wrong? You've been zoned out since the moment class started. Megami averted her eyes as she listened to my question.
It's nothing. I was just surprised by our new teacher, that's all.
I figured that much out on my own. Do you two know each other, Megami? Megami bit her lip, as though about to respond.
You could say that.
After another half-hearted answer, the girl really doesn't want to be straight up with me, does she? I guess I'll just have to be a little more focused. Megami, you...
I have to go.
Before I could as much as finish speaking, Megami jumped up from her seat and ran out of the classroom. Damn, I was too late. I guess I'll just have to ask her later. Seriously, just what is going on here? I can understand Ryo being jealous, but Yui's warning and Megami's reaction, not to mention Shinatsu's absence, or the fact that Shiro is afraid to leave her home. We're only 2 days into the new semester and I already feel like everything is falling apart. Over the days since Megami's first encounter with Mr. Kansuna, life passed by in as miserable a fashion as I'd feared. With our class polarized by our new homeroom teacher, tensions were unusually high, causing everyone, without exception, to feel on edge. Shiro remained absent, Yui started skipping class more than ever, and Ryo spent an inordinate amount of time outside in the principal's office. We all felt the hostility, concern, and jealousy that had become commonplace in our once peaceful classroom. But beyond that, beyond our petty disagreements and differences of opinion, one person suffered from the situation more than any other. Our class representative, Megami. Megami, could you fetch me some chalk? And another duster, if you would.
Okay.
Oh, and stay after class for a while, would you? I need some assistance with other matters.
Fine.
Mr. Kansuna called on Megami frequently for even the most menial of tasks, giving the other students reason to be jealous of Megami, while also making her feel uncomfortable. Other students offered to help, but with some asking why Megami was always being singled out, but the answer was always the same. It's the class representative's responsibility. By claiming that it was her job, Mr. Kansuna continued to use Megami's position against her, keeping her after class, telling her to meet him early, and pushing Megami's friends away. Mr. Kansuna, if you need any help after class, I'd be happy to. No, Mr. Nato, that is quite alright. I'm sure the class representative can handle it. You always say that. Stop picking on Megami and ask someone else for once. 2 weeks detention. Anyone else? Ugh. Whenever possible, I tried to interject myself into the situation, as I did some of the other boys in class. Though our reasons differed, they didn't want Mr. Kansuna to be alone with Megami any more than I did, and they were prepared to be suspended for their efforts. But no matter how much we tried, Mr. Kansuna would find an excuse to pull Megami away, keeping her away from her friends and boyfriend alike. Feeling guilty over previously wanting to spend less time with Megami, I did my best to sneak her outside of the class, Every day I would visit her in the student council room and offer to walk her home. However, since the day he showed up, Megami hasn't been the same. Just where does he get off? Telling everybody in class to vacate so he can talk to Megami in private. I've had my suspicions about Mr. Kinsuna from the moment he showed up, but now I just can't stand him. Worse, Megami refuses to say a word. We barely see each other at all now, and when we do, it's like she's not even Megami. I reflected on the thought for a moment, wondering precisely when Megami being like herself became a good thing. For a while there, I wanted nothing more than time away from Megami, or for her to calm down and act like a normal person. But now, with Megami so gloomy and withdrawn, I realized how stupid I was. I liked Megami the way she was. The loud, clingy, boundary challenged girl who would hug me out of nowhere, not this gloomy, introverted girl who jumps at even her own shadow. I want the old Megami back, and if she does return, I'll never resent her again. See, if I was her boyfriend, I'd do more. You'd think you'd try to do something else. I don't know. Talk to the. I mean, if all the boys.
Be a man.
It's like if all the boys are constantly getting suspended. If there are 10 boys in the principal's office, you think someone might be like, this is weird. Overcome by the need to talk to Megami, I returned to our class, the one which Mr. Kinsuna had ordered us to leave. From outside, I could faintly hear Megami talking to our teacher, and as I pressed my ear against the door, voices became clearer.
For the last time, I'm not going.
Oh? And just why is that? You're the only girl in class who hasn't come to see me, you know.
Liar, you have some of my classmates fooled, but most of them know better than to trust you. Besides, why the hell would I ever want to see you? Even now, I'm suppressing the urge to vomit.
Oh, you little bitch. Your mouth is almost as foul as that of your miserable sister.
Don't you dare talk about her.
Megami and Mr. Kinsuna combined to continue to argue back and forth, further provoking one another with every word. I missed out on whatever started this exchange, but I could tell that it was only going to get more heated. Fine then, I guess I'll just have to spend the break. You'll just have to spend the break with me. We'll just have to spend the break with one of your more sensible classmates.
You mean one of the idiots who can't see past your smile and into your black heart?
Now, that's not very nice. Why would your classmates think that if they heard you calling them idiots? You wouldn't want me to let them let a slip of the tongue get out, would you?
Go to hell. I don't care what you say.
If you say so. Setting off to make good on his promise, Mr. Kinsuna left the classroom through the doors at the front of the classroom, leaving Megami all alone. Once I was sure that he was out of earshot, I opened the door up at the back of the classroom and then quietly entered. Megami?
Hideki? What are you doing here? I thought that you left with the others.
I did, but I came back. I was worried about you, Megami.
Yeah, right. You say you were worried, but you were just standing out there eavesdropping, weren't you?
She's got a point. I mean, Megami, that's not what I
don't want to hear it, Hideki. I've done everything in my power to help you, to please you, to get close to you. And how do you respond? The second your girlfriend is in trouble, you pretend not to notice. You turn the other way like it's not your problem. And you know what? If that's how it's going to be, then I don't need a boyfriend like you.
Megami darted out the door, brushing past me with force unbefitting her frame. Megami, wait! I called out to Megami, extending my arms towards thin air as she quickly escaped my view. But even before I raised my arm, I knew she was gone.
You done messed up.
You done goofed! You done goofed, son! It's true, I mean, she's got a point. I ran out into the hallway, trying to catch up with Megami. Unfortunately, I had no idea which direction Megami had headed in, nor did I know where she might go. The only places I could see her returning to were home or the student council room. With those two locations in mind, I turned my attention to the club room, preparing myself to chase Megami. But as I tried to run after, my legs wouldn't move. I wanted to chase after her, I really did, and yet, she's right. I saw what that basher was doing, and all I did was put up a feeble passive resistance, which got me nowhere. When those two were arguing, I didn't step in, I just listened, curious about the relationship they shared. And worst of all, when Megami first started acting gloomy, I was glad. I was freaking happy that my girlfriend was depressed. I wanted her to be quiet and stay away from me. This whole time, I've been miserably selfish. Not once have I truly thought about Megami, what Megami wanted, or why she wouldn't tell me. As far as being her boyfriend goes, I've utterly failed.
Word,
mate. I don't know why I didn't say the F word. I've said it before several times in this series, but I was like, Another week passed by since I last spoke to Megami, and with it came utter misery. My neighbors, the Yamayama family, Shiro and her parents, packed up and moved out to the city, all without so much as a goodbye. Ryo got his first school suspension after raising his fist towards Mr. Katsuna, or at least the first I'm aware of, and I hadn't and he hadn't been to class since. Yui had been attending on and off, but she outright refuses to sit in on any of Mr. Katsuna's classes, leaving her attendance spotty at best. The only ones still attending are Megami. Wait, I thought you just said she hadn't been here for weeks. Attending are Megami, who refuses to speak to me, and myself, the only person not taking action despite our current predicament. But while I haven't been acting engaged with Megami or our new teacher, I've been paying attention. I've been analyzing their new students, following them about, and making sure to keep a close hand in case something should happen. And the way Megami has been acting lately, it's only a matter of time. Megami, I was asking you to...
I said no. Don't you understand what that word means?
Megami, that isn't an appropriate attitude for the school representative to take.
Don't give me that. If being class rep means being forced to put up with you, I'll gladly quit.
Oh, you'd betray your classmates due to a personal grudge? Megami discreetly glanced my way before answering.
I would never betray my classmates, but that doesn't mean I have to listen to whatever you say.
Megami and Mr. Katsuna had been at each other's throats for the last few days of school, turning every request into a one-sided shouting match. Our teacher plays the cool, calm, level-headed mediator, leaving Megami to shout until she's hysterical. As a result, people have stopped listening to Megami's complaints, choosing to instead see her as a psycho who can't control herself. Actually, it does. For not only the class representative, but also the student council president to blatantly refuse to listen to their teacher.
Ha! Like you even count as a teacher, you freaking pedophile!
Megami, that is a rather rash accusation. I do hope you have some proof to back up those words.
Proof? Why, you filthy...
Innocent until proven guilty, Mr. Katsuna smirked to himself as the remaining time before our break was depleted. Megami was left fuming with her fists clenched by her sides, unable to say or do anything as the bell cut out her argument. Unwilling to remain in her company any longer, Megami stormed out of the room, slamming the door on her way out.
Jeez, what's gotten into that girl?
I know, right? I can't believe I used to think she was cute.
Honestly, how could she say such callous things? Mr. Katsuna's been nothing but kind since the moment he got here.
To the girls, maybe. Yeah, Megami does seem to be going a bit overboard. Listening to the chatter in the class, Mr. Katsuna continued to smirk as he casually made his way to the classroom door. Well, I suppose I'd better go make sure Megami doesn't do anything stupid. It's a teacher's duty to look after his students, after all. After saying that, Mr. Katsuna left the classroom, immediately heading towards the student council clubroom.
How nice. Even after being abused like that, he's still worried about his students. We really lucked out this semester, didn't we?
Little do they know. While many of the students continued to sing the praises of their favorite teacher, I followed his trail towards the student council room. By the time I had arrived, the heated discussion had already resumed behind closed doors, giving me reason to pause before listening. After hearing so many of their arguments recently, I'm not really sure I want to listen to this one. Do you have a phone? I don't know. Record it? I don't know. It seems like Mr. Kitsuna's sole focus is to get Megami alone, or perhaps to destroy her credibility so that no one will come to her aid. Either way, his plan is succeeding. Megami barely has a single supporter left in our class, and even the boys are starting to turn against her. If this doesn't end soon... Oh, Meg.
Don't call me that, you creep. In fact, stop calling me by my first name.
Oh, come now. Don't be like that, Meg. Your sister never minded me calling her by her first name.
And that too. I've told you countless times not to mention her.
I'm not allowed to talk about my former students. That's rather rough. As an educator, I take pride in my precious students. Even those who never make it to graduation.
You son of a...
Whoa, calm down, Meg. If you go any further, you might wind up getting suspended, you know.
Don't tempt me. Right now, a few days away from school sounds like a dream come true.
Oh, it saddens your teacher to hear how much you dislike coming to school. Perhaps you'd prefer if we held some private lessons.
Not on your life, pedophile. I know better than to listen to a damn thing a pedophile like you has to say.
Megami, as I said before, you'd best have some proof before you throw around such accusations. A girl could get into a lot of trouble making up stories like those, you know?
Don't give me that. I know what I saw, you murdering pedophile piece of crap.
Again, you call me that. Do you have any idea how much I've suffered because of your spiteful words? For the first time since Mr. Kitsuna began teaching our class, he looked genuinely angry, slamming his fist on the desk and yelling at Megami. Do you know how hard it was to get another job in teaching after what you did? How many asses I had to kiss just to get my old job back? You ruined my life.
Yeah, well at least you still have your life, you murdering pedophile.
Oh, that's it. Come here, you little what, sir? The moment Mr. Kitsuna took a step towards Megami, I opened the door to the student council room. He stared at me blankly for a moment, as did Megami, without saying a single word. What's the matter? Oh, this? I raised the cell phone in my hand, showing the camera directly pointed towards Mr. Kitsuna. After following these two for days, I knew that there had to be a way to catch him out. And so, obvious though as it may be, video evidence seems to like the best course of action.
Hideki?
What's wrong, guys? Shy in front of the camera. That's a pity. The video is uploading in real time, so there won't be any do-overs. The only question is, do I have the video set to public? Mr. Kitsuna continued to scowl at me angrily, both enraged by my interference and unsure of what to do next. Brat! You'd best keep your nose out of my business that doesn't concern you. That's good advice, teacher. But see, this does concern me. After all, what kind of heartless bastard would stand by and watch his girlfriend get attacked like this? Mr. Kitsuna narrowed his eyes in response to my proclamation. Girlfriend?
Aki.
That's right. I may not usually act like it, but I am Megami's one and only. So as long as I'm around, you'll never lay a hand on her. Mr. Kitsuna continued to glare at me as I sprouted a cheesy line after cheesy line. But rather than retaliate, he slowly clenched his fists and took a deep breath. I understand. I will take my leave. Eerily calm and complacent, Mr. Kitsuna continued to put up a fight as he left. He glared at me once again, as well as the phone in my hand, and then quickly left the room, shutting the door behind me. Oh man, I can't believe that worked. I thought he was going to wed himself there for a minute there, but I actually pulled it off. I was recording everything, like I said, but that line about uploading the video in real time was a complete bluff. If Mr. Kitsuna had taken my phone...
Hideki?
Dragging me away from my thoughts, Megami called my name. Her tone of voice was calm, yet sad, completely different from the callous and angry tone she had adopted since we last spoke. Megami, I...
Don't say it, Hideki. Please, just don't. No matter what, I don't want to hear your apology.
Before I could finish my sentence, Megami cut me off, already aware of exactly what I would say. Damn. Too little too late, I guess. Not that I can blame Megami. After everything I've done, or failed to do, there's no way that she would...
After all, you have nothing to apologize for.
What? I don't? After last time you said...
I know what I said, and I don't think that I was wrong to say it. But the truth is, it was misdirected. I wasn't angry at you, Hideki. I was angry at myself. I've completely shut you out, then lashed out at you for not understanding. I let that man get under my skin and allowed history to repeat itself.
Hello? Then, does that mean you're ready to let me in?
It's not something I feel comfortable telling people about, especially not now that he is back. But you deserve to know, Hideki. If only one other person knows the truth, I want it to be you.
Flashback! Hello? There we go. Hello. For the first time in my oldest memory, I've always lived in a loving, nurtured household. I've lived with a serious father who devoted himself to providing for us. Or is this you? Oh, this might be you.
Do you want me to read?
Yeah, try you reading it. Yeah.
I lived with a serious father who devoted himself to providing for us, a caring mother who could never bring herself to raise her hand at us, and my sister, he told me, the person I idolized more than anyone else. Throughout my childhood, those perceptions remained unchanged. I loved my family to a fault, and always knew I could count on them. I would follow my sister around mindlessly, compete with her for her parents' attention, and wind up apologizing as my antics went too far. But no matter how restless I was, no matter how inappropriate my actions, I was never scolded or hated. My family reciprocated my feelings wholeheartedly, and such minor squabbles could never get between us. As I grew older, although my priorities and loyalties changed, my core feelings remained the same. I looked up to my older sister every step of the way. Every test she aced, every award she received, every confession she politely rejected. She was my idol, the one person above all else whom I wanted to emulate. So I would follow her around, study the things she studied, act the way she acted, until the moment when I realized that I didn't have what it took. I was a quiet, unattractive, good-for-nothing little girl with a sister complex, a parasite leeching off my amazing sister, living in her shadow. No matter how much I wanted to be like her, no matter how much I wanted to be her, I couldn't. Time continued to pass us by, and I gradually grew to accept my place. Even if I couldn't become the person I idolized, I could at least be by her side. That alone would be enough.
Oh my goodness! She's so cute!
Do you want to be Hito?
Sure. Oh, you want to join the student council?
That's right.
And you understand that it's not all fun and games, right? There's a lot of work to be done, and there are so many responsibilities that come with it.
That's okay. I just want to help you and the other students as much as possible.
Foo. Is that so? That's quite a nice attitude you have there. But wouldn't you get bored? Being on the student council meetings means giving up your free time for the sake of the school, you know.
I know, but one Oni-chan would be there, right? So there's no way I'll get bored.
What a charmer you are. You're going to make me your significant other very happy one day. But for the time being, if you're really sure about this, then welcome aboard.
You mean it?
Of course. Someone has to take over for me as student council president when I graduate. We may only spend this year serving together, but I look forward to working with you, Miss Megami Hinoara.
The relationship my sister and I shared was often subject to ridicule by others, but as long as we were together, I couldn't care less. I truly adored my older sister, and the days we spent working on the student council together were some of the happiest of my life. Whether we were surveying students, helping teachers, or just filing paperwork, every day was a bliss. From the bottom of my heart, I wished those days would never end. But all of that changed when he showed up.
And don't forget about the notes for next lesson, okay, Hitomi? I guess it is me. Yes, sir. Good. After you're done with those, please come to the staff room. We can have a good little talk. Understood.
When second semester began, and Hitomi's class underwent a homeroom teacher change, her class was paired with Mr. Kitsuna, a relatively new teacher transferring in from another school. His credentials were stellar, and most of the female students adored him, but Hitomi... From the moment that he appeared, Hitomi began to change. Every day she would come home with a little less energy, tired from all the extra work her new teacher put her through. Both physically and mentally exhausted, she had little time for the student council, or for her friends, or even for me. I thought that her diligent nature and work ethic were to blame. Being a natural perfectionist, everything Hitomi did required the utmost effort. Thinking that way, what right did I have to interfere? The hard-working sister I so adored was tiring herself out by being true to her nature. How could I do anything except give her my support? But in reality, I was just naive.
I said no! Hey, come on now, don't be like that. I have seen the way you looked at me before. Don't try and deny it by acting all innocent. Just a little won't hurt, will it? Please, I don't want this.
One day after school, on a day like any other, I headed over to the student council club room. I was running a bit late after performing cleaning duties for my class, so I hurried over as quickly as I could. When I reached the club room, however, there was a sign on the door saying that the club wouldn't be meeting and that we should go straight home. At first I thought nothing of it. I was late, so surely one of the other members must have left the note for me to find. But the moment I turned to walk away, I heard the unmistakable voice of my sister.
Leave me alone! Get away from me, you pedophile! Oh, this is awful. Oh, now you've done it. I thought you were a nice, prim and proper girl, but I have to use such a foul word. You're just like all the other bitches.
I quietly slid the door open just a fraction, completely unaware of what was going on inside. And the moment I did, I froze.
Stop it! What do you think you're doing? Whatever I want, you little bitch!
What I saw was Hitomi's homeroom teacher, Mr. Kitsuna, holding onto my sister from behind. She was in pain, fiercely resisting his grip, trying desperately to break free. But the man, many years her senior, was undeniably stronger, and his position gave him the advantage. Ripping her hair out with one hand, he started to undo Hitomi's shirt with the other.
No, you can't do this! Don't you care about what will happen to you? Don't be silly, nothing will happen to me. At worst, I'll just get transferred again, due to the nonsensical ravings of a broken little girl.
Mr. Kitsuna continued unabated, undoing the next button on Hitomi's shirt. Her words were having no effect on him. If anything, her resistance excited him even more.
You're sick! I'll have you arrested. You'll never see the light of day again. Do try. I love it when you seemingly strong girls resist. Those other bitches fawn all over me, but there's always more fun when there's no chase. This isn't a chase. You're a criminal. A rose by any other name. More importantly, He-chan, are you a virgin? What? You horrible pedophile. That's that word again. For a straight-A student, you don't seem to be very smart. I guess we'll just have to fix that attitude of yours.
Mr. Kitsuna undid another button on Hitomi's shirt, then another. She continued to flail her arms, but her teacher was too strong for her to break free. She needed help, a third party to intervene. And I was too scared to move. In front of me, I saw my beloved sister, the person who meant more to me than anything else in the world, being attacked by an older man, and I froze. I recognized how hopeless her situation was. I knew that she needed my help, and yet I couldn't move. My peerless older sister, my role model, my idol, the perfect human being, was in trouble, a situation unlike any other she'd been in before. My beautiful, courageous, serene older sister, a girl who could calmly think through any scenario before her, had been enveloped by a scene that she could not find her way out of. My beloved sister was going to be raped. She would have her chastity stolen away by force, taken by a cowardly cretin who sought to prey on the weak. My perfect older sister would be a shell of her old self, crippled by a disgusting pedophile who wanted nothing more than to satiate his own lust. A despicable, lowly insect of a human being would do irreparable harm to my sister, and I would stand by and do nothing? The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. I could feel the door frame shift in my hand as the strength of my grip increased, threatening to crack the wood as I looked towards my enemy with utter malice in my eyes. I had never felt so angry in my life. At that moment, I wanted nothing more than to violently murder the man in front of me. And when my rage finally consumed me, I was afraid no longer. "Leave my sister alone, you disgusting rapist!" I slammed the door with as much force as I could muster, screaming loudly enough that any remaining students on the same floor could hear me. Both Hitomi and Mr. Kitsuna stopped dead, rendered speechless by the unexpected interruption.
Megami!
Hitomi softly uttered my name as though confirming that she wasn't seeing an illusion. But rather than display relief or gratitude...
I was just sharing the screen. I'm confused. Anyway, so this is your little sister, huh? No, please, leave her out of this. Oh, and just why should I do that? Listen to that foul mouth of hers. You've already corrupted her. Obviously, she's in some need of education. No, you can't. Run, Megumi! Don't let him catch you! Shut it!
Showing no concern for herself, Hitomi begged me to escape. Mr. Kitsuna himself, rather than feel worried by my presence, saw me as a tool to leverage my sister. They both saw my attempt at saving my sister as little more than interference, unnecessary and without purpose. Like hell I am! But I wasn't about to give up. Even if my sister told me to save myself, there was no way I could abandon her. After standing idly by, completely oblivious to the treatment she endured, unable to do a thing to help her, I had reached my limit. Let her go right now, or I'm going to scream until every teacher in this school comes running, you filthy pedophile!
You...
Mr. Kitsuna snarled once more, agitated by my words. From the moment I started eavesdropping, I noticed that one word in particular seemed to drive him crazy. Well, Mr. Pedophile, are you going to release her or not, Mr. Pedophile? You wouldn't want to get fired now, would you, Mr. Pedophile? Mr. Kitsuna glared at me angrily, tightening his grip on my sister's hair.
Little bitch! Every bit of horrid and contemptible as your ratbag sister. Megami, stop it! You need to get out of here!
I'll leave when this sick pig leaves, though I suppose a pedophile like him would rather stay at school than go home, so it might be a while.
Shut up! Shut the hell up!
Turning more of his attention towards me, Mr. Kitsuna continued to grow madder and madder. But his grip on my sister's hair didn't loosen at all. If anything, his violent shaking was causing her more pain than before. Uh-oh, Mr. Pedophile's getting angry. Say, Mr. Pedophile, why were you transferred here anyway? Did your pedophilic tendencies get the best of you? Were you outed as a pedophile?
Stop provoking him! You don't know what you're doing!
I guess pedophiles never change, huh? You can take the pedophile out of the school, but you can't take the...
Shut the fuck up!
At that moment, I finally understood my sister's desperate pleas. From my position in the doorway, looking directly towards my sister, I couldn't see everything. I watched in horror as my sister, screaming at me to run away, had her head slammed with violent force against the table in front of her. I clearly saw her tongue being severed by her teeth, and the unbelievable amount of blood that followed. I froze, staring blankly at the scene before me, as my sister bled out.
Oh, shit.
Mr. Kitsuna, the man who had just bashed my sister's chin into the table in front of them, was speechless. Seconds ago, he was agitated beyond belief, consumed by anger and lust. But now, standing in a pool of his victim's blood, my sister's blood, reality had finally struck.
No, I never meant to.
Shocked by his own actions, Mr. Kitsuna remained frozen in place. What was intended to be an act of lust and domination ended in death, a result nobody present had predicted. And in the face of this vile scene,
Ah!
not even the murderer himself could keep his cool. Unlike Mr. Katsuna, I did not flee the scene. I did not move, didn't speak, didn't register anything happening around me. Despite standing, I was practically comatose, rendered useless by what I had just seen. My thoughts continued to cycle through memories of Hitomi, fond recollections of our time together, peaceful days I thought would never end. But ultimately, I realized that there was only one memory that mattered. I tried to save my sister. I tried to help her. I wanted to protect my beloved sister, who meant the world to me, and for whom I would have done anything. And I got her killed. Despite thinking that way, I didn't really blame myself. Even if my intervention had been the trigger, I was lucid enough to realize I wasn't to blame. There was something else. There was someone else. The person who caused all of this. The person who set all of this into motion. The one person I could never forgive.
Wow.
Katsuna.
Oh, well, glad to see there isn't a happy route in this game.
I quietly uttered to myself, unaware that those who had heard the collective screams of my sister and I had arrived.
Just Katsuna! As in Mr. Katsuna, the new teacher. Oh, this female, I'll go for it.
What about him? I don't see... Despite the urgency with which they had arrived, the few people who did show up were totally relaxed. Or at least they were, right until...
Oh my... What the...
Gah!
God heavens. Good heavens. Is that... Students, don't look!
Upon setting their sights on my sister's fresh corpse, the students and teachers who gradually arrived at the scene all had the same reactions. Students were repulsed, teachers were horrified, yet they all just stood around, contributing nothing at all. Katsuna, he did this.
Mr. Hinabori, what are you...
I'm telling you, it was Mr. Katsuna. He did this. That disgusting pedophile did this.
Calm down, Miss Hinori. Just take a deep breath and...
He did. He tried to rape my sister and then he killed her. I saw it all with my own eyes.
I continue... I don't know why I said
I
that.
continued to shout, telling everybody who would listen about what I saw. I repeated time and time again that it was Mr. Katsuna who was responsible. He was the one who killed my sister. And in the end, he was caught. Bloodstains on his shoes, my sister's hairs on his shirt, and his fingerprints embedded into her flesh as bruises. Although it took a while for the DNA tests to be conducted, and for that man to be charged, everybody knew without a doubt that he was the one who killed her. But even with the man responsible in custody, life didn't get any better. My parents, utterly broken after having lost their first daughter, refused to so much as look at me. My mere existence reminded them of Hitomi. Just by being in the same house as them, I was causing them pain. It was then that I realized Hitomi was the lucky one. Without Hitomi around, and with my parents rejecting me outright, for the first time in my life, I was completely alone. Left behind by my own family, I experienced agony worse than death, soul-crushing loneliness which Hitomi could no longer fill, and my parents simply refused to. I craved their attention more than anything. I wanted my family to acknowledge me, to see that they still had another daughter. But as time dragged on, their wounds didn't heal. Upon realizing that I no longer had a place in that household, I quickly moved out. My parents readily agreed to rent an apartment for me, anything to get me away from them, and I started to live on my own. I brought with me only my school supplies and clothes, happy to live a minimalistic lifestyle as I tried to regain my sense of self. Between talks with police officers and counselors, I hadn't been to school since the day my sister died, nor had I done anything for myself. So when I moved out, I saw it as my chance to rebuild myself anew. I would become the person I always wanted to be, the happy, energetic, reliable person I always looked up to. No longer living in someone else's shadow, I would finally have an identity of my own. Adopting the best parts of my idol, I would surpass her at last and become someone who could have been her equal. And that is how I became who I am today.
So, how is T a teacher? I'm confused. That's my first question.
He's not even using a fake name. It's like,
No, I mean it's the same guy, same name, and all that stuff.